Okay, hey guys, Mark Bennett here. This is a video for Produce Like a Pro Academy. Internally, it's going to be an unlisted YouTube video. If you save the link, you can share the link. You can send it to any band or artist that you're working with, or you watch it over and over again. I don't care, but it's private. I'm not putting this publicly. This is about everything I've learned so far in my first year of marketing my music, and so this is specifically aimed at folks who kind of want to know what other people have been doing, what's worked, what's not, who's some of these marketing things for. So I'll talk about what I've done, what I haven't done. I'd love to hear your thoughts and make this a good discussion point because I know just a lot of folks have asked me about this topic, and I've asked a lot of folks about this. Anyway, this is just everything I've learned so far. Here we go, just jumping right in. So, some context here. I created a new band name, artist name for myself in the indie rock and singer songwriter genre. And I started essentially brand new from scratch. I didn't have any name recognition, I didn't have any social media accounts under this name at all. So, everything was starting from square one, 100% brand new Instagram account, brand new Facebook page, brand new Twitter, etc. I started those last summer. I took a few months kind of promoting those to get them a little bit established and then released my EP and my first music video in the fall. And then here we are now. It's the end of May, and some of the stats you'll see will be about, kind of where I've gotten to from now. So, like, a lot of people question, why market this music's endeavor? Like, what do we gain? Why do we do it? Here's my thoughts on it. Not everyone wants to do this. Not everyone should do this. Not some people have marketing budgets 10 million times higher than we do, right? And some people don't. But these are my basic goals, right? Cut through the noise. I wanted to build a foundation for this artist, for me as myself as an artist, that I could grow upon year over year. So I'm really thinking kind of long term with this, and I think most bands should, most artists should. I also kind of thought, like, why not try marketing this? Because I've never really done it before on a grand scale, and I didn't have much cost in making the music. Some people spend a couple $1,000s on recording with us, or we pool our money when we record with a producer or whatever, but I didn't have much of those costs, so I thought, what would happen if I promote my music with what budget would have otherwise gone to a recording budget? That was kind of my concept. So I may have spent more than some people can, but I think the takeaways here today should be that if you are going to spend some marketing money, do it effectively, and I'll show you what I did and didn't do and why they maybe were or were not effective. But then there's a side note here. Like, I've always been a producer and mix engineer for a very long time, and I kind of wanted to use myself as an artist to get my name out there and gain clients. And so that's partly why I'm also okay marketing this. And you'll see that because I do have a return on my investments in terms of new clients, and that's part of my equation here. Anyway. That said, here's the big four things that I've pretty much done. College radio promotion. I paid a company to do that. Mixed results. We'll talk about that in a second. YouTube video promotion. This was a specific thing that I did. I paid a company to specifically promote on the YouTube platform itself, promote my first video. As you can see, I spent $1,000 on that. That was pretty decent chunk of change between those two things. And then the Facebook and Instagram ads that are really the meat of this presentation, as you'll see. I kind of did two things with those. With, Facebook owns Instagram. It's now called Meta, whatever, who gives a crap. But I'm talking about an actual ad account. And I've done two main types of those. Ads that directed people to my Spotify and ads that directed people to a new YouTube video that just came out, et cetera, et cetera. So I kind of like took over the marketing in terms of Facebook and Instagram, right? The top two things I paid a company to do, and then I did my own. all in all, we're wrapping up about a year. I've probably spent about 4,500, give or take, in marketing this endeavor spread out over the year. What I have not done, I do want to mention that real quick. I have not paid any companies to put me on Spotify playlists. Playlisters Club, blah, 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 blah. I have not paid any companies for streams. Like, there's companies that supposedly do that. I got the impression those tend to be a lot of times more fraudulent. Whole lot of streams now, but no residual, no actual residual fans. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But I've heard mixed things about those, so I was like, what can I do to direct people to my Spotify, but kind of own the process? I have not paid any company to boost the size of my social media. I know there's companies that do that. Even Tinderbox Music said, hey, you want to pay us to give yourself 10,000 Instagram followers? No, that's kind of not what I'm about. I don't. Maybe those work, maybe those don't. I have no idea. But mine was just basically getting people to see my videos and getting people to listen on Spotify specifically. Of course, it translates a little bit into other platforms, but that's the gist. That's what I spent. Here's what I got out of it. We'll talk about all these more in depth here in a second, but my 4-song EP has about 15,000 streams, 21. It's actually, I think, over 2,200 listeners now. I've been placed on about 288, I think, playlists. Only a couple of those are like pretty high value playlists, but nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. Haven't done anything crazy. But in my 6 YouTube videos, I just crossed 100,000 views. But I will note, and you'll see this later, I only have about 200 subscribers. I may not have even quite passed that threshold, maybe 199 or something. My Facebook page has 660-ish followers. My Instagram has 820 followers. My Twitter has 270 followers. That's basically where I'm at right now. And some of these things I'm pretty excited about. Some of these things have a value that may not be monetary, right? Some of these may be a complete waste of time in 5 years. I have no idea. But anyway, that's where I'm at right now. My actual return on investment, right? This is how I'm viewing all of this. This is why I'm doing all of this. 35 whopping dollars in streaming revenue approximately from Spotify, give or take. They owe me for a month or two that I'll get in a month. But okay, no money coming back from streaming revenue. We all know that it's terrible. But what else have I gained from this? My stats, I think, matter. And for any band, for any artist, I think we'd be lying to ourselves if we said statistics don't matter. When you're booking gigs or trying to get, picked for a showcase event or playing at the state fair or getting attention to record labels, stats do matter. So in my case, I guess I should say I've paid for some stats. Personally, in my music studio business, I've actually made pretty decent return on investment in the form of clients that would not have found me otherwise. So that's not nothing, That's not nothing. That's something. But here's the real gist of it: is I believe I've planted a pretty firm foundation for this endeavor in a little bit less than a year, because my fan base and some of that's you folks listening right now, and some of it's my mom and my family and my friends here, whatever, the Tulsa music scene, blah 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 blah. But when I get bit broader, my fan base, the people that are actually listening on Spotify or following the YouTube page, those are real. Those are real people. They seem to be rather authentic and sort of long term. So I'm very grateful that I think my fan base is solid from having made all these investments. I've got some algorithmic growth that we'll talk about later. That means YouTube and Spotify are recommending me to other people, and I can actually track that. And of course, my biggest takeaway is that I've refined my game plan moving forward of what I'm going to do, what I'm going to not do. Real quickly about the radio promotion. This was a college radio promotion company. This was their specialty. They do 8 weeks. They time it to coincide with the release. I got on a lot of stations. That was kind of fun. Some played me a lot. Some played me a little. But I'm on like permanent rotation. It sounds like in a few. But okay, it is what it is. What this is good for. This is fantastic, I believe, for touring artists. Like if you're pretty well established and you're doing a regional or national tour, like this is who these guys exist for. A company like this should be providing you with usable data for booking gigs. Example being, you're blowing up in College Station, Texas. You should probably make a tour stop there and coordinate with the radio station when you get there and do all those kind of things. Of course, anytime you crack into college radio once, it's easier to crack in a second time subsequently. So, like, there's bands that do it for that reason. The stats look really good on paper. I'm going to show that real quick. Sort of like my promotional materials now. This is that one of those things where stats matter, right? There's some clout to this, and I may book some opportunities I would not have without this. But it sure did not result in very many streams or actual fans coming seeking me out. I mean, it did a little bit, but not really very much. Radio promotion, as you can imagine, it's just they might have heard it, but they sure didn't track me down afterwards. They just heard it and moved on with their lives, and it was cool. And I may be able to capitalize on this more in the future, but for right now, it was kind of like, okay, this was an experiment, and I did not see much social media growth or streams in and of itself just from this campaign. Long story short, probably won't do that again, but it might be right for you. Anyway, the same company did YouTube promotion specifically via the YouTube platform, and that means I paid them to use in-stream like YouTube discovery sample videos to try to get people to watch my video, and it was extremely low cost per view. If you want to think about it that way, I got 87,000 of my views from just one video for $1,000. That's the takeaway. Those numbers can vary depending on how good your video is, I'm sure, right? But I'm sure this company is probably used to getting between 50 and 100,000 views for $1,000. Of course, it looks great on paper, but same with the college radio thing. It is to some degree a discovery mechanism. There might have been some folks. Well, I know there were some folks that found me, subscribed, listened to my stuff, but that is a very small proportion compared to 87,000. So very few subscribers or streams via this method because some ad just told them to watch my video next, and they did, and they moved on. Of course, this is another thing that, well, okay, it looks good on paper. Well, what else can I say? It's making it easier to book gigs, for sure. Looks good on the promo material. I will never do this again for my own band. But I guess I should say I'm glad I did it once. What do I mean by that? It means I shot through kind of higher than I ever expected with that first one to get to 87,000. I'm now over 100,000 total. And some of that, as we'll see later, is algorithmic help. I'm found by the search engines. I'm suggested in other videos, and there's some value there. I couldn't quantify it, but 3,000 of my plays are algorithmic according to YouTube, right? Give or take. I will note the big asterisk that you can see on the screen is views via this method of YouTube promotion do not count towards YouTube channel monetization. That's maybe a misconception out there. If you pay YouTube to advertise your YouTube video, it does not count. And by that I mean YouTube monetization happens after 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. If you're aiming at that goal, this is not the right promotion mechanism. If you're just trying to get a whole bunch of video views, I mean, this is how you do it. But here's another takeaway that'll apply later. I cannot personally retarget these viewers. What is retargeting? If you don't know what that is, it means like whoever watched it, I don't know who watched it. If they liked it, I can never reach out to them again with some other video. If they liked it enough to follow me, that's great. But see, I barely have 200 subscribers, so it's not that many people. I can't retarget them to try to get them to go to my Spotify. Like, there's nothing I can do with those views other than I have those views now. If that makes sense. That's why I will not do it this way again for myself. But I'm glad I did it once. It's done its thing, I guess. It's done its thing. Anyway, let's get to the real meat of this. Facebook and Instagram-based ads and post boosts. This is, I think, what a lot of us have done already. We've probably done it at some point. You've been like, what is this button? I'm going to boost this for $20. Maybe it's because we have a new release out and I want to boost the post. Maybe you spent hundreds of dollars. Maybe you spent thousands. I don't know. But this means me with my own business, and I'll make sure to point that out, my business ad account, managing my Facebook page and my Instagram ads, targeting ads to both Facebook and Instagram, sometimes one, sometimes the other. And that has included boosting posts, or more importantly, as time has gone on, I was using Andrew Southworth's method of making very specific targeted ads to Spotify or to a YouTube video specifically. I'll go in more detail about that here in a second, but as you can see, a pretty low cost, it's not nothing, but a pretty low cost to get people to just go watch my YouTube video, but that kind of a view counts. That's usually a real person because they saw an ad on their Instagram page that said, my new video is out, would you like to watch it? And they clicked yes. Or in the case of Spotify ads, it's a little more expensive for me personally. But it was actually where most of my streams came from. We'll talk about that in detail here in a second. These kind of ads resulted in actual steady increases of followers in these platforms. So in all accounts, for all I can tell, I mean, these are pretty real, actual results, and I'm going to keep doing this. Part of what I learned from doing this, right, is that triggering the algorithms of Spotify or YouTube, etc., that's actually a bigger deal than I realized. Learning from Andrew Southworth's page, which I'm going to show real quick here. Learning his method, which I went ahead and bought his course and did his method. So everything I'm going to show kind of from here on is really what I learned from him and some of my own doing what he instructs you to do. I didn't realize how big triggering the algorithms could be. And it's basically because, if there's so much music being released every day, so many videos being released every day, for the systems to really know you exist, you have to kind of feed it, is the concept. You have to put out a lot of content or put a lot of people onto that content. Anyway, here's a couple other little takeaways. Don't do ads like this in this platform half-assed. It's been way more effective to think like a sniper rifle instead of a shotgun in these kind of ads. And here's the best takeaway, I think, for this. This is the reason why I will continue using the Facebook and Instagram methods. I may expand to more, but I'm going to continue doing these. I can retarget viewers and listeners on these platforms because it's my ad account. If 1,000 people liked my video or my post, I can show them a post next time I have a post. Or if I have a new single come out, I can go back to those people and I say, hey, I've got new songs out. And I think that's pretty valuable. Granted, we all, this is all an experiment. I may be thinking totally differently 2 years from now, but for now, this was my main takeaways. So let's get into meat and potatoes. What Andrew Southworth's method does, why I did it. I own the account and own the data and own the results. It has resulted in organic and pretty high engagement compared to the other methods of marketing, meaning if I put out an ad for a song, I tended to get comments on the ad itself saying, I like this song. I'm following you now. This song resonated with me, etc., etc. I took a chance on your ad and I liked it. Whatever. The engagement has been pretty high proportion compared to like that 87,000 YouTube view video, which really the engagement was minimal. But I can also tell that this method is pretty effective because I'm actually getting multi-view and multiple streams and playlist ads and subscribers from this kind of thing. Meaning they didn't just go listen to, I advertised one song and they listened to the song, but then they listened to more. You can tell, and they liked it and they put one on their playlist. Like this is pretty. This is pretty effective if I'm seeing those kinds of results, right? So every time I put out new music, I will do it this way again, and I'll actually next time probably try to trigger algorithms even stronger. By that I mean Spotify has things like release radar and other ways that they'll, if you hammer enough people to your song in a short amount of time, it starts to get caught as, ooh, this is a hot release and things like that. And for a small-time independent artist, like there's no other way to do that, I don't think, than to market the song really heavily when it first comes out. So we'll talk about that at the end. But here's the other thing: as I've actually found making my own ads and doing the ad creative part has been fun in its own right. Here's what these ads entails, right? Here's what that method, Andrew Southworth's method, entails. It's correctly setting up an account, actually using a strategic landing page with a tracking pixel installed. If you don't know what that is, that means Facebook is told to change its advertising behavior based on the results that the pixel is telling it. It helps Facebook aim its ads better. It helps you quantify your results better. Like if all you're doing is boosting a post for more engagement, then your results are if people like and comment on the post. But if you're trying to get people to go to Spotify, Facebook can actually tell you, did they make it all the way there and did they get to the song itself? Some of the setup entailed kind of managing iOS 14 privacy restriction things. I couldn't even describe what they are, but I have a custom domain set up, so my ads actually go to a landing page, but I'm hosting the landing page, and then the pixel is installed on the button that says, do you want to listen on Spotify? So even though it's a Hypedit smart link, you've probably done Linktree or Feature FM, whatever it is. But my Facebook pixel reports back, did they go from my ad and do all that? But the other part of this is that he taught me how to make extremely targeted and simple ads with a very specific purpose. What does that mean? You may have advertised your band, you may have advertised your single, but the more ways you can simplify it, whether it's a specific video or a specific song, the more ways you can simplify it and make it very targeted, the better. And I'll explain what that means here in a second. But part of this method is also like really doing what marketers really do, which is, especially, internet marketers, you run multiple versions of ads and you test them and you see which one's working better and you put your money on the one that's working better, and you be effective with your marketing dollars, even if it's just $20. I would rather spend $20 and get 100 clicks than spend $20 and get 50 clicks. And if I do two versions of the same ad and one gets 100 and one gets 50, I know where to spend my next $20. Does it make sense? Anyway, of course, this method of advertising also dramatically reduces bots. The whole process really makes it to where real people are really listening to your music or watching your video. So here's a few more things. Specifics. For the Spotify growth specifically, I ran an ad. I'll show it here in a second. I ran one song at a time kind of ads. The ad actually says on it, listen on Spotify. It's a 15-second sample. I made it kind of look good and sound good, and then I made multiple versions. The back end is tracking the data and refining, and I can stop bad ads. It's a 2-click process. I think I mentioned that before, right? That means if they said, yes, I want to listen to this song, it went to a landing page first, but that landing page only has 1 or 2 options. Go listen on Spotify, or maybe a backup option of listen on Apple Music, or maybe a backup option of, well, watch the video if you want on YouTube instead. I have a video. But I don't have one of those landing pages with 1,700 options. No, the landing page is designed to instantly get you through to Spotify, but in the meantime, it's tracking who goes there. It's just tracking your ad effectiveness. The demographic information, it's tracking, the reason for 2 steps also is that it removes the bots usually from the equation, because if your ad is a 1-click thing, you might get hammered by bots if you advertise the wrong thing in the wrong place. But if you have a 2-click process, then Facebook really knows, as it hones in its advertising engine, it really knows, truly, we're finding people that heard my song from my brief little ad and said, yeah, I do want to listen to that on Spotify. So now they are. Of course, part of this process is also targeting countries and regions very strategically, really thinking through what works, what doesn't, where I should be, seeking out, new fans. And all of this is done by targeting specific genres or similar artists to me. So, my ads also are only targeting people with Spotify. Think about that. Why would I waste money on something else? If I'm trying to get you to go to Spotify, well, Facebook lets me determine to only show this ad to people with Spotify. That's a heck of a lot better than not, right? So I was setting it up saying, here's my short ad. Here's the song. If you like it, you want to listen to it, cool. And that's it. 2-click process. Yep. Let me go down. Yep, here we go. Here's my results from Spotify ads specifically. About 12,000 of my 15,000 total streams, I'm pretty sure, are from running ads for a couple months for less than $500. Most of my playlists were definitely from people finding my music. And then, that's cool, I want to add it to my playlist. That's residual plays that are carrying on at a higher rate now, right? There's a lot of repeat listeners who came to this. It drove up my Instagram followers faster than I thought, not crazy, but organic. I'm about 880 now or something like that. Friends with a lot of you on Instagram, of course. But I'm pretty sure that little middle section, 300 to 750, was from just those ads. Of course, it's been good engagement. Sometimes these ads are costing 20 to 50 cents a click. But as you can see, average listener is my average global Spotify listener global total out of the 2,200 listeners I think I have now. They average at least 3 songs. So they're not bots. They're not one and done. So really, with the residual listens and the people that are just sticking around and they tucked it in their playlist or whatever, it's more like, I think, 4 or 5 cents to have got that person to become a fan. Somebody I didn't know before, in many cases, a different country. Okay, cool. They like my music. That is a wonderful, rewarding thing. And they're sticking around and they're listening to it again. Probably about 500 of my streams are algorithmic. I would not have had that without having invested in some of this. And those algorithmic plays continue. That it's essentially Spotify suggesting me to people who like similar artists that Spotify thinks are similar artists to me. That number is not huge, but that's kind of cool, right? I triggered the algorithm, so Spotify is recommending me to people that it has determined I sound like. And of course, the process has been fun. And really, to keep in mind all this, I only have 4 songs out. So I've gotten 15,000 plays, about 12,000 of them because I advertised it, and I only have 4 songs. This is a good foundation. Is my point. I think I have about 200 followers specifically on Spotify. But this is a good foundation. 2,200 listeners, 15,000 streams. You can see, like, okay, that's what I would call traction. So my next release has a platform to stand on and go from there. And let's talk real quick about the YouTube videos specifically. And this is, to clarify, this is Facebook and Instagram ads asking people from my account, asking people to watch my YouTube video. Spent a few $100 on 2 videos, and I think I basically got about 6,000 clicks, which really turned into about 3,500 plays because you have to watch it more than 30 seconds before it counts as a YouTube play. Pretty sure my subscriber count ticked up about 50 because of this. So these are subscribers that I didn't know before, they saw my ad, they watched my video, they're like, I want more. That's cool. I want to know when you update more. My social media counts did click up slowly while I run these ads. Not as much. It's not as much as the Spotify ads, but there has been, of course, some sincere, good engagement. Not a ton, not as much, but when someone watches your music video and then they comment, I liked that video, that's a really rewarding bit of engagement. So by running ads this way, again, a very targeted ad that might be just a post that I'm boosting, but I'm actually going through and telling the ad that the goal is to get people to watch the YouTube video, the tracking pixels, the blah, blah, blah. I'm targeting genres that are similar to me. Facebook has learned, because I've run ads now for a while, Facebook's kind of learned. The algorithms have kind of learned what kind of people might want to see this ad, right? And I'm specifying countries and age groups and all that kind of stuff. But I'm still, at the end of the day, just saying, here's my new music video on YouTube. Would you like to listen? And then it's their choice whether or not they want to click and listen. I'm getting these, I'm not doing with a landing page on these 2. I'll probably will shift over to that, but I'm about 4 cents a click. But even that doesn't tell the whole story, because the evidence is there that people will watch more than one video if they came through this method, right? When I was advertising on YouTube, when I was paying Tinderbox Music to advertise on YouTube, I didn't get any residual clicks to any other videos. They saw in the YouTube platform, I got recommended, they watched it, they moved on. In this method with Facebook and Instagram ads that come from my social media page, it's like, hi, I'm an artist. Would you like to watch my music video? People are like, if they say yes, they're like, okay, cool. They go watch the video. Well, now they actually really know. They go back to Instagram and say, that was a cool video. Like, okay, so the connection is actually there. Somebody will remember it more. They know who I am. And then, too, YouTube algorithmic plays, partly because I'm sending people there via ads, and partly because I have now 100,000 plays. YouTube is suggesting me to other people, just the same as way Spotify is, right? So YouTube started to identify who else might like my video, and YouTube wants to keep videos playing all the time, so they're suggesting me to other people with similar videos. And then, keep in mind with all that, I only have 6 videos out so far. So my job behind the scenes with other, to grow my music career in this specific way, my job is to keep coming out with content and new songs and things like that, right? Like, there's some people who really live and die by the concept that they need to be coming out with new songs all the time on a regular click. I have not been able to do that. That's partly why I spent some marketing budget instead to try to get traction that way. But I will keep coming out with YouTube videos. That I can do a little bit faster, because I've got to about a monthly cadence with those. Excuse me, I'm gonna shuffle for a second. So, by next month I'll have a seventh video, my eighth, ninth, 10th. So I'm using YouTube to generate in discovery and interest and have fun. Of course, it's fun. I like making music, so it's fun. But really, my return on investment in YouTube videos promoting them myself has been, more people coming to listen to my music, more people kind of deciding, hey, they like what I do. They would like to see more and hear more. And that's really, what it's all about. So here's what I'll do specifically on my next release. Whether it's a single or an EP yet, haven't decided, but here's what I will do and what I won't do. I will probably, because of Andrew Southworth's method that now I've got kind of under my belt, I will probably pay a little bit for ads before the release comes out. The teaser videos is something that I did that worked pretty well. Maybe a music video timed right before or right after the release. But specifically with marketing budget, I probably will do more marketing budget just on the Spotify specific ads that would be timed for the release. So if the release comes out on a Monday, I will start Spotify ads, running them for 2 straight weeks, I would imagine, something along those lines. And I'll probably put most of my investment, maybe that's $300 next release, maybe that's $1,000 if you're a new band, or maybe that's $10,000 if you have really good funding and investment with a record label or whatever. But I'll probably run a pretty hard Spotify ad campaign for every song or EP or full album that I come out with over the next few years. Unless something changes in 2 years and this method doesn't any longer work, I will probably be trying to trigger the big release algorithms like release radar on Spotify, etc., featured, blah, blah, blah. Some of the stuff that's just, if I can get 10,000 people to listen to it in 2 days, Spotify will probably notice. I don't know if I can ever achieve that, but you get the idea. The point of it all is if you run your ads well and effectively and streamline them and track the data, then over time, you can have a more successful release of your next music. Because it's my takeaway anyway. You can, I think my next single or EP will have a foundation to grow on. I have people I can retarget. Think about that. I have people that I can retarget in order to promote my next release, and I can get new people there because of a new release. And if I combine that marketing budget on this kind of specific advertising, I have a feeling that I could just get this up even to the next level, if that makes sense. Some other things I might do differently, just kind of nuances of all this. I'll probably be focusing more on Instagram platform than anything else right now. That tends to be what's working for me more. I may dabble in TikTok because Andrew Southworth said this is actually possibly a cool thing with a good return on investment, but I haven't dove in there yet. But yeah, that's what I've learned from doing all this, and this is what I will do next time. And I'm going to, I guess, sign off with that. Here we go. Cool. Thanks, guys.